USB-A. USB-A is the cable that started it all. Released in 1996, it was created because before this, every device used a different plug. Printers, mice, keyboards, scanners, all of them needed their own special port on the back of your PC, which usually meant a tower of beige boxes with more holes than a Swiss cheese. USB-A was designed as one standard connector for everything. Plug it in and the computer figures out what it is. For the first time, you didn't need to restart your PC just to add a mouse. The rectangular shape became so common that for almost 20 years, it was basically the universal plug. The only problem? It only goes in one way, and somehow you will always try the wrong side first. That's not a flaw, that's a law of physics at this point. USB-A is still everywhere today, in keyboards, flash drives, car chargers, and the side of your TV. It's old, but it refuses to die. Micro USB and mini USB. Before USB-C existed, phone and camera manufacturers needed a smaller version of USB-A that could actually fit into thin devices. Mini USB came first, around 2000, mostly used in early digital cameras and MP3 players. It was small but kind of fragile, and the connector wore out fast if you plugged and unplugged it too much. So in 2007, micro USB took over. It became the connector almost every Android phone used for nearly a decade. Thin, reversible-ish, and cheap to manufacture. For years, if you lost your charger at a friend's house, chances are someone else had a micro USB cable lying around. The problem was the tiny metal tab inside that bent if you forced it in upside down, which statistically everyone did at least once. Today, micro USB mostly survives in cheap accessories, older game controllers, and that one drawer cable you keep just in case. USB-C. USB-C launched in 2014, and it was built to fix basically every annoying thing about the cables before it. It's reversible, so there's no wrong way to plug it in, which honestly felt like a miracle after years of USB-A trauma. But the real magic is what USB-C can carry. The same tiny port can transfer data, charge a laptop with serious power, and even send video to a monitor, all through one cable. That's why your phone, laptop, headphones, and even some monitors might all use the exact same cable now. The catch is that not all USB-C cables are equal. Some only charge, some only transfer data slowly, and some do everything, which is why you can own 5 USB-C cables, and somehow none of them do the one thing you need right now. Still, USB-C is the closest thing we've had to one cable for everything, and most of the industry, including Apple, has now switched to it. HDMI. HDMI launched in 2003, and it solved a very specific, very annoying problem. Before HDMI, sending video and audio from one device to a TV meant separate cables for picture and sound, usually a mess of red, white, and yellow plugs that looked like they belonged in a science experiment. HDMI combined high-quality video and audio into a single cable, which meant one plug, one connection, and no more guessing which colored cable went where. It quickly became the standard for TVs, game consoles, laptops, and monitors. Different HDMI versions support different things. Older HDMI 1.4 handles regular 1080p and 4K at lower refresh rates, while newer HDMI 2.1 supports 4K at 120 Hz and even 8K, which matters a lot if you're buying a new gaming console or TV. If your screen looks blurry or your refresh rate is capped lower than it should be, there's a good chance the answer is simply you're using the wrong HDMI cable, which is somehow always the answer. DisplayPort. DisplayPort showed up in 2006, mainly built for computer monitors rather than TVs. It does basically the same job as HDMI, sending video and audio, but it was designed with PC gaming and high refresh rate monitors in mind. DisplayPort cables can push extremely high refresh rates and resolutions, which is why most high-end gaming monitors use DisplayPort instead of HDMI. It also supports something called daisy chaining, where you can connect multiple monitors through a single cable, which sounds impressive until you realize most people just buy more cables anyway. If you've ever wondered why your monitor has a port that looks like HDMI but slightly different, with one corner cut at an angle, that's DisplayPort, quietly doing the heavy lifting behind your gaming setup. VGA. VGA is the cable your school computer lab definitely still had in 2015, long after it should have retired. Released all the way back in 1987, VGA was the standard way to connect computers to monitors and projectors for decades. It's the blue connector with a grid of tiny pins, and if even one pin bends, the picture turns into a blurry mess that looks like your monitor is having an existential crisis. VGA only carries video, no audio, and it's an analog signal, which means the image quality is noticeably soft softer than anything digital. By today's standards, VGA is ancient, but here's the twist. Walk into almost any office, classroom, or conference room projector setup right now, and there's a decent chance VGA is still sitting there, working fine, because some things in IT never truly die. They just get hidden behind a desk. Ethernet cable. The Ethernet cable, also called an RJ45 cable, is the one that actually connects your computer to the internet using a physical wire instead of Wi-Fi. It looks like a slightly thicker phone cable, and it's been around since the 1980s, constantly upgraded to handle faster speeds. The big advantage of Ethernet over Wi-Fi is stability. No interference from walls, microwaves, or your neighbor's 20 smart devices fighting for the same signal. That's why gamers, offices, and anyone doing serious downloads still plug directly into the router when they can. The numbers printed on the cable, like Cat5, Cat6, or Cat6e, tell you how fast it can go, with newer categories supporting speeds way beyond what most home internet plans even offer. So if your Wi-Fi keeps dropping during an important video call, the boring beige cable in your closet might be the actual upgrade you need. Lightning cable. The Lightning cable was introduced by Apple in 2012, replacing the old 30-pin connector that had been used since the original iPod. It was smaller, reversible, and built specifically for iPhones, iPads, and AirPods cases. For over a decade, it was the cable everyone with an iPhone either had 10 of or could never find when they needed it most. Lightning cables can charge devices and transfer data, but compared to USB-C, they're noticeably limited in speed, especially for things like transferring large videos off your phone. After years of pressure, including new regulations in places like the EU, Apple finally started switching newer iPhones to USB-C, which means Lightning cables are slowly joining micro USB in that drawer of cables that almost nothing uses anymore, but somehow nobody throws away. Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt looks exactly like USB-C, which is exactly why so many people get confused. Developed by Intel and Apple, Thunderbolt uses the same USB-C shaped connector, but it's capable of transferring data at extremely high speeds, way beyond regular USB-C, and can even drive multiple high-resolution monitors from a single port. It's mainly found on higher-end laptops, especially ones aimed at video editors, photographers, and anyone moving huge files around constantly. The confusing part is that a Thunderbolt port can use a regular USB-C cable, but a regular USB-C cable won't give you Thunderbolt speeds. So you can own two cables that look completely identical, plug into the exact same port, and perform completely differently, which is just cable manufacturers collectively deciding that simplicity is overrated. And there you have it, every major cable hiding in your drawer finally explained. Most of them exist because at some point in time, they solved a real problem better than anything before them, and the ones that feel outdated now were once the absolute cutting edge. If you want to actually clean up your cable mess and only keep the ones that matter, now here's the thing. You just learned how all these cables connect your devices together, but what happens after that connection is made? How does your phone actually talk to a router, and your router talk to the entire internet? That's exactly what we're covering next. Every networking term explained. IP addresses, routers, DNS, and Wi-Fi, broken down in the simplest way possible. Click the video on screen right now and I'll see you there.